What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much for being here. I just want to start out with that. Um, I know, Rex, I told you it was 3 o'clock, but I have to do this early. Today's my mom's birthday and whatever, so I got some things planned for later. I have to do this now. Anyway, thank you very much, Cash, for supporting the channel. I appreciate it. I really do. What's up, Jen? What's up, Jen? What's up, Ottawa? What's up, Ben 15? What's up, Miss Gothy? Thank you for being here. I appreciate the support. I really do. Cash says, "Hey, Candy Plane."
Hi, Cash. Good to see you here.
All right. So, without any further ado, we're going to jump right into this today, ladies and gentlemen. Um, this is Get to Know Stop. Stop stands for Standing Tough on Pedophilia because that's what we got to do. Before I say anything else, I need you to understand this. What I'm about to talk about is not rare, it's not extreme, and it's not confined to other people. Childhood sexual abuse is one of the most widespread, least understood, and most quietly destructive forces shaping adult lives right now. You already know survivors. You work with them. You love them. You even argue with them. You judge them. You may be one of them. The only reason the only reason this feels distant is because we don't talk about what it actually does to a human being over time. Today, I'm not asking you to feel sorry for anyone. I'm not asking you. I'm asking you to understand something that has been misunderstood for far too long. Because once you understand, you can no longer pretend that the damage and danger ends when childhood ends. Because it don't. What's up, Temper? What's up, Ty Spork? Let me drop this too real quick. If anybody wants to come up and join me, it makes me more comfortable and I appreciate it, but not necessarily necessary. I want to start by saying this clearly. I'm not here to make anyone comfortable. I'm not here to soften language so it's easier to swallow. I'm not here because I believe words magically undo damage, because they don't. I'm here because there are millions of adults walking around right now who have spent their entire lives carrying something heavy without ever being told what it actually is. They don't walk around saying, "I was abused." They walk around saying things like, "Why am I like this? Why can't I calm down? Why do I ruin good things? Why do I feel so disconnected all the time? Why am I always tired? Why does everything feel harder than it should be?" And for the most part, and for most of their lives, nobody ever gave them an honest answer. So let me say the truth plainly. Childhood sexual abuse does not end when the abuse stops. It does not end when the offender disappears. I love you too, sweetheart. It does not end when the child grows up, and it does not end just because time passes. It ends when the body learns safety again. And For a lot of us survivors, safety was never introduced in the first place, so we don't even know what it is. Thank you, Cash. I appreciate it. I appreciate the kind words, Cash. That means a lot. Most people think trauma is about memory. They imagine it as something you remember, something you replay, something you revisit, and eventually file away. But childhood sexual abuse, especially when it happens early, doesn't wait for memory. It doesn't wait for logic, and it doesn't wait for understanding. It happens before language, before compassion, before a child even knows that something else is supposed to exist, like innocence. So the child doesn't think this is abuse. The child thinks this is how the world works. There is no before. There is no baseline for safety. There is only adaptation. Trauma that happens before language does, trauma that happens before language doesn't get stored as a story. It gets stored as sensation, a feeling. Heart rate goes up, breathing gets heavy, muscles get tense, startle response, the way the body freezes, frowns, fights, or even disappears. That's why so many survivors struggle to explain themselves later in life. I have this problem. They're asked to explain something their body learned before their mouth ever had words. And instead of asking what happened, the world asks, what's wrong with you? Sorry. Every abused child builds a survival system. Not consciously, not deliberately, but automatically. Some children learn to become invisible. Some children learn to please. Some learn to obey. Some, very few, learn to fight. Some learn to perform. Some learn to disconnect completely. None of these are personality traits. They are adaptations, a way for us to survive. And survival systems do not come with an expiration date. I don't think they ever do expire. So when the child becomes an adult, the system comes with them. And suddenly, the world starts using different words like difficult, dysfunctional, too much, too sensitive, unstable, and even broken. Here's the truth that most people don't want to sit with. We do not punish survivors for what happened to them. We punish them for what it turned them into. Let that sink in for a minute, ladies and gentlemen. I'll even repeat it. Here's the truth most people don't want to sit with. We do not punish survivors for what happened to them. We punish them for what it turned them into. I didn't ask to have dissociative identity disorder. It was given to me by what happened to me. I didn't ask to be an addict. It was given to me at 10 years old for a way to cope with my bullshit in my life. I didn't ask for depression, extreme anxiety, antisocial anxiety. I didn't ask for any of those. PTSD, CPTSD. I didn't ask for those. They were given to me by the motherfucker that abused me. We judge the symptoms without ever acknowledging the cause. Let's talk about addiction. What's up, Citizen Z? Thank you for being here, bro. I'll take a second break. Hang on a second, guys.
Yes, I have a live. It's Awareness Monday.
Oh, they're right, Miss Gotti. They don't expire. They don't expire. We judge the symptoms without ever acknowledging the cause. Let's talk about addiction. Addiction is not about pleasure, it's about regulation. It's about calming the nerves. It's about calming the nervous system that learned chaos way too early. It is about control when the body learned it had none. It is about numbing something that never learned safety. When someone says just stop, they are speaking to the adult. The addiction is protecting the child. The same is true for anger. Anger is not violence. It is not cruelty. It is not more failure. Anger is the body recognizing that a boundary was violated and never defended. It is a protest that arrived late because it wasn't allowed early. So when survivors express anger as adults, the world tells them to calm down. And what they really mean is, your truth is inconvenient for me. And when anger isn't allowed, it doesn't disappear, it turns inward. That's where depression grows. That's where shame grows. That's where self harm and self destruction quietly take root. Abuse also rewrites intimacy. It teaches that closeness can be dangerous. That love comes with conditions. That vulnerability invites harm. So survivors often live with the contradiction inside them because we crave connection and we fear it. We want to be seen, but at the same time we want to disappear. That isn't manipulation. That isn't inconsistency. That is trauma. Childhood sexual abuse doesn't just harm a child, it interrupts development. Parts of the brain grow up too fast, other parts never get to grow at all. That's why you'll meet adults who are incredibly capable in some areas and completely overwhelmed in others. They can handle crisis, but fall apart in intimacy. They can take care of everyone else, but not themselves. I'm really good at that one. They can survive chaos, but panic and calm. That isn't a contradiction. That is compartmentalized survival. Just give me a minute, guys. Oh, Drew, you're addicted to my love? Well, I love you too, brother. Yeah, right, Miss Gothi? You're told just to get over it? What kind of bullshit's that? I deal with the homeless community, and a lot of what he is saying is affecting the homeless population. Yeah, yep, Citizen Z, you're right. Pup says you're doing great, fella. I understand the bark. Thanks, Cash. Oh, maybe, maybe. It's the numbers. The numbers crazy. Citizen Z. Citizen Z says, "Do you know how many children are bought and sold in homeless camps? They rent out their children to survive, and that to me is extremely bad." Yeah, yeah, yeah. My nerves are firing on overdrive right now, guys. Childhood sexual abuse doesn't just hurt a child; it interrupts development. Parts of the brain grow up too fast. Other parts never get to grow up at all. Right? Right, Temper? It is too, man. It is too. That's why you'll meet adults who are incredibly capable in some areas and completely overwhelmed in others. They can handle crisis but fall apart in intimacy. I think I already read this, but whatever. They can take care of everyone else but not themselves. Yep, I did. They can survive chaos but panic and calm. It's not a contradiction. It is compartmentalized survival. Some parts of them are decades old, and some parts are still waiting for safety to arrive. Then comes the secondary trauma. The trauma not just for what happened, but of how the world responded afterwards. The labels, the misdiagnosed, the judgment, the pressure to be normal are probably the hardest one, the disbelief from others. Over time, survivors stop asking why they feel the way they do. They start believing this is just who I am. That belief is devastating because it turns survivable injury into an identity. Time does not fix this, ladies and gentlemen. Time does not heal this trauma, ladies and gentlemen. Safety heals trauma. Understanding heals trauma. Consistency heals trauma. Time without safety doesn't heal wounds, it hardens them. That's why telling survivors to move on or get over it isn't just unhelpful, it's actually more harmful. You don't get over something that happened before your brain's finished forming. You don't let go of something your body still believes is happening. Healing is not about becoming who you were before. For many survivors, there was no before. Healing is about learning safety for the first time. And that process is slow, invisible, exhausting, and nonlinear. Silence makes all of this worse. Silence does not protect children, it protects abusers. Discomfort does not harm children, ignorance does. It is very sad. It's a very sad reality, and it happens every day. No help, no direction, just helplessness. I see this every day in DC. That's sad, Citizen Z, and you're correct. It does, just like that. That's right, Temper. There's only here and now. Yep, that's right. And if you're able to maybe get a membership to the channel or a super chat to help support the channel, I'd appreciate it. Not expected, but it would be great. Just saying. Every time, every time we rush survivors to heal. Every time we rush survivors to heal. Every time we minimize their reactions. Every time we choose comfort over truth. Another child learns the same lessons survivors are still unlearning decades later. If you're listening to this and asking why rest feels unsafe, why peace feels temporary, why you're always bracing for impact, you're not weak. You are tired from constant internal vigilance, from scanning rooms, from reading tone, from preparing for danger that may never come, but once did. You are not broken. You adapted to something no child should have to have endured in the first place. In closing, I'm going to say this. So if there's one thing I want to leave you with, it's this. Childhood sexual abuse is not a chapter people close. It is a foundation that shapes how they stand, how they love, how they protect themselves, and how they survive. When we ignore that truth, we don't just misunderstand survivors. We build systems that keep re-traumatizing them. Facts. And when we stay silent, we don't stay neutral. We take the side of whomever allowed the harm to happen in the first place. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. If you want a different world, one with fewer broken adults, fewer addictions, fewer suicides, fewer people quietly collapsing under invisible weight, then the conversation has to be honest, uncomfortable, and relentless. Because protecting children doesn't start after the damage is visible. It starts when we are brave enough to tell the truth about what happened when they were protected, when they aren't protected. And if this shook you, good, I did my job. That also means that you're finally close enough to the truth to do something with it. There's so many of us here today in chat that'll watch this later, that will watch and not say anything, that deal with all this shit on a daily basis. It's not easy. I don't really think it ever gets easier. We just we just learn how to deal with it, I guess, in a way. What's up, Daniel Barry? Thanks for being here, my friend. I appreciate it. Miss Gothy again. Oh, look at that. Daniel Barry, a Get to Know Stop member for 5 months. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you very much, my friend. Citizen Z coming in as a new member. Thank you very much, Citizen Z. I guarantee it'll be the best 99 cents you've ever spent in your life. Yep, you're right, Miss Gothy. Miss Gothy says it never gets easier. We just have to find a way to cope and deal with it every day, every minute, every second. Absolutely. There's so many things that I touched on: the depression, the addiction. It's real. It's real fucked up. See, that's the thing about predators. They don't think about any of the damage and long term effects that it's going to have on the person that are abusing. All they care about is right here, right now, and getting that gratification. What, man?
They just want to fulfill their
They just want to fulfill that urge,
desires.
that sexual desire. Um, I'll open up the panel for about 10 minutes if anybody wants to come up. Yeah, go over anything we discussed today, talked about. Miss Coffee. Citizen Z says, I only support good people, and to me, you're awesome.
Aw.
Thank you, Citizen Z. Look at that. Cash coming in as a G2K member for 11 months straight, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, look at yours.
Thank you very much, Cash. Thank you very much, Cash. I appreciate it, my friend. I really do.
Thank you, Cash.
Like, I know I'm not live on this channel all that often anymore, but I'm usually here on Mondays and Fridays. But you know, I can't always be about this. It sucks to say, but it really starts eating at me. It really gets into my personal life, and that's right, Cash. Thank you very much. Can he stay? But got you back, mate. Thank you very much, Cash. I appreciate it. Stay safe, y'all. Never be a bystander. You know what? For some reason, Citizen Z, for some reason, I thought you were going to come up here, my friend.
Well, of course, man. I support you 100%. I think that what you went through is tragic. And I see it every day in the homeless population in DC. And it's tragic. They rent their kids out, man, in order to survive because they've got all their benefits cut. There is no more. They're
Yeah.
closing down shelters. There's kids getting raped in shelters, man. There is no place safe for these people.
That's horrible.
And far too often, so many people just turn a blind eye. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
they
that's
don't care.
and
They
that's and
if
yeah, that's what gets me. I don't see how people can do that. I mean,
if you live on the street, you are less than trash, according to
yeah,
these people.
according to yeah, I get it. I get it.
I just I support you in what you do. I've always supported you, even when I met you through Beast Mode, right?
Yeah.
I've known you since Beast Mode,
Yes,
and
sir.
I've always supported your cause. And I feel that you got the wrong end of the stick, right? Nobody should go through what you went through.
Right. And
And
I'm
as
not.
I
I'm not.
told you yesterday, I have a 12-year-old granddaughter. I'd kill somebody if they looked at her wrong.
Right. Yeah. I get it. I don't have grandchildren yet, but I got a 19-year-old son and a 17-year-old daughter. I got nieces and nephews. I mean, I got one adopted granddaughter, but I got two godchildren. I got three godchildren. You know what I mean? And like, fuck around and make your last mistake is what I'm saying.
Exactly. I
You know what I
agree
mean?
with you. You know, I'm 78 years old, and I still I don't understand the world because when I grew up, this was still going on, but it wasn't as prevalent as it was today, right?
I think it was
Even
just
back
because I think it was
then,
more because it was just more hush hush. You know what I mean? Like we'll
well,
we'll handle this within our own family. We don't want it. We'll be embarrassed if this gets out. You know what I mean?
people back in my day, they handled it a different way. There were no cops called. There was
Right.
just judgment. That's all that there was.
People ended up sleeping with fishes.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
Yes.
concrete used the whole 9 yards, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm such a huge advocate for the homeless, because these people, dude, if you ever walk through a homeless camp, right, whether there's families and children, they rent these children out like they're a commodity.
Yeah. And it's so it's horrible.
And I've called the U.S. Park Police. I've called the police on some of the homeless people in there because some of them are really scummy, right? I'm an advocate for the homeless, but 20% of them are really scumbags. And the
Right.
cops do nothing. The cops don't care.
Yeah, they don't. They don't. What's up, Adrian? What's up, Charbetty? You know, and that's one thing. Like back a while ago. So the parasite that abused my wife, he died like 2 years ago. The parasite that abused me died just about a year ago. And at the time, they were both alive. They lived in the same city, and they were both on the registry, and um, they were both non-compliant with the registry. My wife's abuser had been non-compliant for something like 18 months. My abuser had been non-compliant for like 23 months or some shit like that. I called them. I called the police department in the city that they lived in. I gave them addresses. They laughed at me. We don't have the power. We don't have the manpower to do that. We're wasting. What the fuck do you mean?
How do you terrorize all these other people and deport all these other people, but you cannot protect the kids, man. They're our future. And if our kids get corrupted, what's our future going to be?
Exactly.
What legacy?
Like we're quickly approaching an 88% rate of all men and women who experience some form of sexual abuse by the time they hit 18 years old. Let that sink in. 88% of all men and women experience some kind of sexual abuse or sexual trauma by the time they hit 18 years old. What the fuck? What the fuck, people?
I read an article the other day. It was a study article, and they said that the homeless children that live as families in tents and shit, 21% of them are abused on a daily basis.
On a date, multiple
21%.
times a day. Yes, it's fucking crazy. And nobody's doing shit about it. And I don't get it. I don't get it. Well, it doesn't directly affect me, so why would I care? What the fuck are you talking about?
And the worst part of it is they're renting out the kids in order to have food to survive.
Yep, that's crazy. And like, I'd starve to death. I'd starve to death.
I just don't understand, man. I don't understand the mentality of these sick bastards. Personally, they should be hung by the tree, but that's only my opinion.
Well, I say this on here quite often. Do you know why people like you and people like me don't understand why they do this? It's because we're not that way.
Sick individuals.
Exactly. We're not that way. The only way. So it's actually a good thing that we don't understand why they do this. So, you know what I mean? I don't fear a person, but I question the person because I understand I understand why they do it. Well, then that means you are one. So
see, I've never been through what you went through. I've never been through what my friend that I told you about, what he went through. I've never been that because I had a poor family growing up, right? We were poor, but we were all unified. We all looked out for each other, right? But
right.
I protect my daughter growing up. I protected her, my granddaughter, and this world is just horrific. She wants to go online, and I told her absolutely not until you're 18, man.
Yeah. I could get behind a bill. I could get behind a bill to turn to law to ban anybody under the age of 18 from actually accessing the internet.
I think we should put a petition on change.org because at 300,000 signatures, he actually does take a look at it. It actually does go to the White House. And I think we should craft a bill at exactly what you're saying because I totally believe in that.
Yeah.
Because
like I know
it's bad, dude. TikTok is horrifying.
TikTok, Snapchat, like Roblox is one of the worst online games you could let your children play. Like it's just horrible. You guys, you let your children jump into a world that's not controlled by any kind of law. You can be anybody you want online, ladies and gentlemen.
Right, and it's like there's a predator who still streams online, who goes on Fortnite and talks to children, right? And he is a convicted sexual predator.
And let me just add this in there. To whom this person is, and I know who it is, you better watch the fuck out because your time is limited, my friend. You understand me? Because G2K's got the ball, Get to Know Stop has got this ball, and I'm taking you fucking down. Just ask Michael Lee Dula what happened when he wanted to play games with me, man. I'm not playing games.
And I gave him
Leave
all
on your
this
own
shit,
and
man.
never come back, or I'll take you off this motherfucker myself. Trust and believe that shit.
You know, I appreciate that. I just wish I was like 20 years younger. That's all I want to be, man.
Right?
But I'm old now. I'd fall out my bone. I'd jump on some white, my bones would scatter everywhere. But you know,
Yeah. Well, there's still so many important jobs that you can do to help and make a difference in shit, Citizen Z. Like you might not be able to get out there and physically whoop some ass, but you got some skills, bro. You got some, you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about.
my
You
avenue
still do some
is
damage,
I'm a
bro.
homeless advocate, right? They're less fortunate than I am. It's why I do it because I grew up poor. I know what it's like to go days without food. I
Yeah,
know what it's like to live in a 2-bedroom apartment with 8 children and 2 parents.
yeah,
Know what it's like. But you know, that's why I'm a huge advocate. But the horrors that you see along with that G, G2K, it breaks your fucking heart, man.
yeah,
There's kids out there that are 12 years old stealing cars. There are
yeah,
kids out there on ISO, Trank, Crocodile, Flacca. Flacca is the new drug for the kids, man. What the fuck is wrong with us?
yeah.
Why
Exactly.
don't we have 100,000 people out there going, excuse me, this is not correct?
Yeah. See, the thing about it is we live in a society that they care more about sending money to Ukraine than to putting it back into our country that can really make a difference for so many people. That's a major problem. I'm not going to say that is the underlying problem, but that is a major problem. There's all these programs there's programs that could be set up. I got a number of programs, a number of ideas that I would love to see come to fruition about programs to help people become aware of this trauma before this trauma ever even fucking has to happen. There's all kinds of things that we can do that I just get
Yes.
continuous pushback, and nobody wants to be on board with it. And it's like, what the I don't get it, man. I really don't get it.
G2K, I gotta blame some of the parents too, man. I
Oh yeah,
have,
absolutely.
because they give their kid a phone, right? That now becomes their babysitter.
Yep.
There is no online monitoring. You set a kid I'm trying not to swear on Xbox, right? And they can talk to anybody out there. They set them on PlayStation. They put them on Steam. They use Snapchat, as I said, TikTok, everything else, right? That is their babysitter. Where are the parents stepping in and supervising what the hell that they're doing online?
There's not. They don't. Legitimately, that electronic device literally becomes the babysitter. Here, get out of my face.
Yeah, exactly. And it's wrong. And we need to change that. I will stand behind you a million percent. Whatever you might ever need from me, I will give it to you. Let's do this, man. Let's
Hell
make
yeah,
that
Z.
law.
Oh yeah, Z. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I really do, man.
It just pisses me off, G2K, man, to no end. I'm sorry, I don't mean to get emotional
Oh no, no, no. That's what this is about, man. You got to show true emotions, or people won't take you seriously. Like
we-
like these things are not easy for me to do, regardless of what anybody says. Like 20 minutes before I started doing this live stream, I already started meditating on myself, giving myself a pep talk. This shit is not easy for me to do. I wish I could get up here and talk about non-important, stupid bullshit, just like 99% of everybody else does on fucking YouTube, but I can't. I can't.
and you shouldn't, because do you know that your story can save people? It can save children. What you went through may hit somebody and just right, so that they think about what you say and they don't want their children to go through it. Think of all these people out
Yeah.
here that you can change their lives on. To me, That is just like me going out and helping the homeless. You are an advocate, my friend. You are a shining light that people need to listen to. They need to hear your story. They need to change the shit.
No, that's in here.
I appreciate the words, Z. I really do, man. You
Well,
know,
it's true though.
despite I appreciate it, man. I really do. I really do. Just and despite what anybody wants to think or say or feel about me, I'm not here for clicks and views, as most people are here for clicks and views. I'm not here to get recognition. I'm here to make a fucking difference in this world before it's too late. And we're slipping close to being too late, ladies and gentlemen.
So G2K, remember I told you the story of the guy I referred you to, right?
Yes, yes.
He grew up abused. He was forced by his father to go out there, by his mother to go out there at a very young age because they wanted money. And then, you know, the priest molested him. He went to a halfway house. He was forced to sleep with both men and women. And then you have people who terrorize them for that. Film their family in the back fucking yard, putting
Yeah,
their children online for everybody to see. And this is supposed to be a good guy, right? Well, come
yeah,
on, people. Why do you terrorize people? Why? What jollies does it give you?
yeah. Again, that's something that we don't understand, and it's because we're not that way. You know what I mean? I wish more people would understand and get that there needs to be a change before this horrible shit becomes the permanent change. You know what I mean?
But what would make somebody torture somebody or fucking talk down to somebody or tell them, you're wrong. Get over it.
Yeah,
You're older now. What the hell's wrong with you? What the hell is wrong with compassion? What is wrong with understanding? What is wrong with stepping in their fucking shoes? You got, I look at you and I step in your shoes and I wouldn't want to be you because what you went through is horrific, my friend. Horrific. I don't give a shit what anybody says. It was horrific. And I would never, never want to be there. But you know something? You're improving. You really are. You're spreading the word. You're almost like testifying, right? But it happened to you. You want people to understand where you're coming from.
yes, yes. That's a good point. This is just my story. There's hundreds upon millions of stories out there that are just like mine.
That's right. And there's a lot of them. Look at the rain statistics. The rain
Oh my god.
statistics should make you friggin' cry.
Oh yeah, they're horrible. Like people don't like. And you got to remember when it comes to these kind of statistics, they don't keep statistics on anybody under the age of 12. So
No.
these statistics are from the age of 12 to 17 years and 364 days. Oh, that's like it only covers 6 years of time.
Yes. And you're very true. And, I, there's just some sick people out there, dude.
Go ahead.
I don't understand these sick. I believe in old style justice, man.
Well,
That's just me, though.
most of these cases, I call them 47-cent cases. Why 47-cent cases? Well, that's because that's about how much it costs to make a 9mm bullet. Line these son of bitches up. I'll do it every single day, and when I lay down to bed at night, I will ask God for forgiveness, but I know I won't even need to because God says Himself, "It is better to have a person who should harm one of my little ones. It would be better for them to tie a millstone around their necks and to be dropped at the depths of the ocean than to come
Oh,
and see."
there'll be no court. No court.
No, none.
And would you allow me to give a statistic? So
Absolutely, whatever you want.
423,020 people age 12 plus experience sexual violence each year in the US. 423,000 of the ones that are reported.
That's just 12 to 18, ladies and gentlemen. That's just 12 to
Right.
18 years old.
54% in the US, over half of sexual violence are victims are ages 18 to 34. 54%. And 63,000 child protective services found strong evidence that 63,000 children a year were sexually abused, and that's only the ones reported. And there's hundreds every day. I watch the online court thing. I watch like Judge Boyd and that, and they all have sexual predators in front of them that are raping 8, 9, 10-year-old children, and this is disgusting.
Yeah, yeah. Like I'm gonna touch a little bit on the foster care system. 56,000 children a year from the age of newborn to just before they age out at 18 go missing from foster care systems every single year in the United States and are never seen again, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, most of them are either sex trafficked or
Yeah.
in the slave trade or an
Yeah.
organ. You know, they use children now, live children up to 12 years old, as organs, right?
Yeah.
They sell them for their organs.
It's crazy. Like, and I can see how somebody who doesn't know much about this could easily say like, "Oh, come on, man, that's bullshit." But do your own fucking research, ladies and gentlemen. Do your own research. It's out there. It's out there.
If you really want to know the facts, go to Rain.
Yeah, go to Rain. RAINN. Yep. Yep. Yep.
But
That
I
is
just want to
fact.
come up and say hi to you, man, and tell you thank you for what you do. I appreciate what you do, and I say keep going, man.
I just so everybody knows, like, I'm never gonna stop. Well, there will come a time that I stop doing this, and that's the day I draw my last breath. I will never stop doing this as long as I live, regardless of what anybody tries to throw at me, regardless of how many death threats I get every single day in my emails. I don't care. I'm not going anywhere. You want to come get some? I'll give you my fucking address.
Tell me that it's not fucking sick. G2K, you get death threats for helping people. You get death threats for telling your story. How sick is that? How twisted and sick are people?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. The first 75, 100 of them I got, they kind of got me off my rocker. You know what I mean? They kind of set me back, and I was like, oh man, this kind of, I don't know if I'm. And now it's just like, I'll send them an email back. Here's my address, motherfucker. Come on over. Come on over.
I hope everybody listening heard that. 75 to 100, right? Listen to that. These are sick, twisted people, and they need to stop, man. This is wrong. What part of morality has left our society where this is acceptable? It's not, people.
Yeah.
This is called having morals.
Yeah. And if you're one of those people that are like, yeah, I don't have kids, why do I care? You're part of the fucking problem. You're not any better. You're just below above the pedophile themselves.
Think of how hard it is for G2K with him, his wife. I don't know if you have children or not, but think of how hard it is that he has a wife, he has 2 children, and what he went through. Think of how much he had to struggle with this to even do that.
I mean, for real. Like, there's so many things that we didn't allow our kids to do because of the abuse that my wife and I endured. Like, they never spent the night anywhere besides their grandma and grandpa's house. Maybe their auntie's house once or twice. But that was it. They didn't go to sleepovers. They didn't go to they didn't go to that shit. And they didn't understand at the time, but now they kind of understand why we did what we did. And, you know, like, I say this all the time myself, like, the person that abused me, the person that abused my wife, abused more than just my wife and myself. They made everybody a victim that we come across in our lives, a victim of what happened to us. Like, they made my wife a victim before I even met my wife of what happened to me. Like, my kids were a victim of my abuse before I even thought I was going to have kids. You know what I mean? And that's the reality of it. Everybody, like, it's that detrimental. It's that harsh. It's that fucked up, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, and it's like the guy that I told you about. His father pointed a gun at his head,
yeah,
and forced him. A gun in his head and forced him. Think of the mental trauma of that at like 10 years old, having a gun pointed at your head and saying, you will do this or I will shoot you.
Now, see, I had my abuser held a gun to my head a few times, but it wasn't my dad telling me I had to go do it.
Right, but it's
That's
still
trauma.
enough.
I'll never. That's trauma.
Think of your own father doing that, man.
Yeah, I can't.
You know?
I couldn't. I
And
can't.
that's got to mess somebody up. I don't care who
Fuck.
you are, what your mindset is. It's got to scramble your brain.
It's got to. I mean, there's no other outcome it could have been than to fuck with you, man. You know what I mean?
I don't want to speak out of turn, but Sharbati is a very good friend of mine. She
I
has
love
talked to me
Sharbati.
many times, and she went through similar things, you know, and people pick on her for it, and that angers me. I get very angry because she is a very, very good friend of mine,
Yeah,
and
she's a
that
good, like
pisses me off.
Sharbati and I. We've had a few conversations. I know a little bit of her background. I know a little bit of her background, her past, and I love Sharbati. I'm so glad to see her coming around both my communities again. And just know, Charbati, you're always fucking welcome here. I don't care what anybody says. And if I catch anybody talking shit about you, rest assured that G2K, Get to Know Stop, will handle that shit right then and there. Because I don't play games with people. You guys want to be big time keyboard warriors? Well, guess what? I'm a fucking real life warrior. I don't take the bullying. I don't take the fucking ignorance. And trust me, fuck around and make your last mistake.
That's right. Fuck around and find out. And she's my co-host, by the way, on my live streams, because I play movies over on Rumble and stuff. But she's my co-host, and she's a wonderful person. I talk to her on a daily basis. Sometimes we disagree, sometimes we agree, but in all, she is a wonderful person. I'm teaching her animation, teaching her different things. But it's like her. She went through a lot of shit online too. Yeah. And people are just stupid. They're twisted. So,
yeah,
G2K, answer me this question. How do we get these people untwisted, man? How do we fix our society so this doesn't happen anymore?
Honestly, I don't think there's a way. Okay. When I started doing this, I came into it knowing that I'm starting a war on something that'll never be won. Why? Because human beings are disgusting ass creatures, and as long as human beings exist, so will pedophilia. But on the long run, there's a real simple way to make a major difference in millions of people's lives. The penalties must meet and supersede the crime. To me, sexual abuse of a minor by an adult is worse than committing murder, because somebody who gets murdered only has to live through that once. I gotta live through my innocence being stolen from me every single day of my life. When you continuously slap these pedophiles on the hand, make it so they don't have to register as a sex offender, re-traumatize the victim by making them testify in front of hundreds of people they don't even fucking know and tell their story while their abuser sitting there staring them down, well, that's got to change. If we made these crimes the death penalty, and don't let them sit on death row for 20 years and do all these appeals. No, you get busted with 100 videos of child sexual abuse. That's the death penalty. That's judge, jury, executioner. You become your own judge, jury, and execution. On the spot execution, these motherfuckers. I don't care.
I'm of the idea of public execution. Maybe if we started videoing these and televising public executions for these, maybe they would understand.
See now I got this idea from some videos that I've seen in the past, and like I don't know anybody else personally, even online, that knows more about this shit than I do. Okay, I don't, and I'm sure there are people, but I don't know them. I think it was in Singapore. We watched this video, and it was man executed for sexual abuse of his daughter. Okay. And it shows this blank wall, and it starts panning out, and you soon see this little door in the far corner start to develop, and then you see that this dude is like filming this on the other side of this chain link fence, and this room's about 40 feet by 60 feet squared, and you see this dude stripped down, buck naked, walking around in this room inside this cage, and then you slowly see this door in the far corner start slowly sliding upwards, and they let a fucking pit bull go on his ass, and he was executed by death
that
of
is
dog.
awesome.
And the first place, it sounds cruel, it sounds fucked up, but I don't think so. The first place that dog went was right to that bull, that was right to that man's manhood, and tore that shit right the fuck off, and then attacked him and grabbed him by his throat and sat there and until he died, until he died.
You know, I really hate to say this, but I think it's needed because, you know, I know in Japan, in the old ways, they chopped off your hands. Your hands
Yep.
were gone, and I think that's the only because there's no repercussions. You know, I watch some of these predator hunters that are like Alex and those who do it right. They sit down and talk to these people. When the cops show up, 90% of the times the cops don't arrest them.
Well,
It's
do you
like,
know why
what
that? Do you know why that
the
is
fuck?
citizen? Do you know why that is Citizen Z?
No, I don't, because if they're giving you evidence right there, and I don't care if it's a fake person or not, if that person is coming on to a young person who thinks it's a young person, that guy is fucking twisted and he needs to be dealt with. Gone. See ya off
This
the
is
street.
this. I've said this many times here as well. This is one crime. That's one crime that intent should be illegal. A crime. Your intent should be a criminal offense. But the reason they don't is because there's no actual physical victim. Now, how fucked up is that? This dude's sitting there saying he wants to stick his shit inside of a 6-year-old girl, and even though it was an older adult, what if he would have showed up at that place and it would have been a 6-year-old girl? He would have raped her.
There's no
Yes.
that is that way.
Yeah, and there's no 99.98% or 98.98% of offenders reoffend. There's no fixing them. There's no rewiring their fucking brains.
You know,
None.
I don't like Chris Hansen, right? I really don't.
I don't
'Cause
either.
think
He's a
showboat.
weak ass bitch.
But but if you look at the theory behind it, with all the people who did show up with fresh pizza, condoms, alcohol, all for a 12 to a 13-year-old girl,
Yeah.
think about that, people. How many people got stung in that? Think about that. How many people drove from another state to that state?
Yep. Yep. And if that girl would have been there, or if that boy would have been there, they would have been a victim.
Raped. Yes, they would have gotten raped or
Absolutely.
killed. And some of these people are killing children after they're
Oh, yeah.
raping them.
Oh yeah.
The survivors are lucky because there's a lot of sick, twisted people out there, right? I'm trying to behave with my language, but
Oh, you're good. You're good. I want people to show their real emotions. I want people to speak what's really on their mind. These fucking motherfucking cocksuckers need fucking executed on the spot. Period. That's
Yeah.
my true feeling.
you know, they used to do something in the 1600s for that when men raped the children. It was called a pillory. And they would lock your head and your hands into the stock, and you were bent over outside. And there was a basket sitting about 10 feet away from you filled with rocks. And
Yep.
the citizens could walk by and stone the shit out of you while you were in the pillory.
Yeah, you're not going nowhere.
I'm sorry, man. I have a whole different view because I'm old, right? And I think in the old ways. And I'm sorry. You know, there's a lot in this government that I don't agree with, but I think we need to publicize, you know, and punish these people publicly.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'll help curb it down. Because
Gather them up in 6-month intervals, house them in a place for 6 months, then do a huge pay-per-view event where people can pay to watch this public execution of all these sick ass motherfuckers. And I guarantee you do that 1 or 2 times, the numbers are going to drastically lower instantaneously. Why? Because people are going to be like, oh fuck, I better not do that no more because I don't want to be one of those people. Guess what, motherfucker? Wood chippers. Well,
and then you get the sick fuckers who go, oh, I got my 30 seconds on TV before I died.
Yeah. Yeah. But even though you can have your 30 seconds because you're not going to be here much longer, motherfuckers.
That's right. That's right. All right, my friend.
All right, brother.
You, man, you keep up the good fight. I support you 100%. Everybody out there, hit like, share, and subscribe to this, man. You have a good day. Peace, love, and weed, man.
You too, Z. Thanks for being here, brother. I'm gonna follow suit, ladies and gentlemen. I got some things I got to go get done and whatever and whatnot. But I hope you guys learned something from this live stream. I hope you guys take something from here. If you are a channel that deals with this kind of content, go ahead. You can share this out if you want. Make some clips. Do what you feel. As long as it's in a positive manner, I will not strike your channel for re-streaming, making them into show. I will not do it. I'm telling you right now, I will not do it. But you want to try to go negative on me, I will do it. I don't give a fuck because I'm not playing around. Ladies and gentlemen, remember one thing from this: one child is one too many.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good one.